I didn't grow up in the same house as my father. So my four other siblings, two sisters and two brothers, and myself, we were raised mostly by our mother. And in the Easter of 2002, my mother left Jamaica to come and live in America. So I was eventually raised by my sister. It was I was a bit of a house rat growing up, so I wasn't necessarily influenced by community things, but I knew that, you know, certain things existed. The community is very volatile. There are times when there are shootings and such, and you know, we're not from the best economic background. So things like tuition was a challenge, especially for me who went to Campion, where tuition was usually more than what the normal student would pay. And I think while I didn't go to school without lunch money, as was the case with a lot of people I knew, getting that lump sum of tuition at the beginning of every year wasn't always the easiest thing to come up with. So in that sense, that was the biggest early benefit of being a member of the program, of being in the program that the Grace and Staff Community Development Foundation ran. They provided that benefit in terms of financial assistance for school, and they continued that benefit through the homework center, where you could literally go and get someone to help you with your homework. They continued that benefit with computer labs. The first place I consistently used a computer was at Grace and Staff in the lobby by the old office. I was always there. The first place when I had anything to print for school in terms of homework, that's where I would go. Internet access, from I would say Campion was a pioneer in terms of incorporating digital aspects into schooling, and I didn't grow up with a computer in the house. I didn't grow up with Wi-Fi, so for me that became a hindrance rather than a help. And the place that I could go and fulfill that need was Grace and Staff. So yeah, in terms of helping me to stay on a level footing with my classmates at school, Grace and Staff was very instrumental in that. In terms of memorable moments with friends, there were several programs that were designed to help our student development, and I think those programs help to create bonds with people. So things like the photo club. I was a founding member of the photo club, and each weekend we would go to exotic places and take pictures. The first time I went to Blue Mountain, and I was at the peak at the campsite, and I looked out and I'm like, this has never happened before. In my own time, I wouldn't have done anything to go somewhere so picturesque. We went to Port Royal just to photograph the old city. And when I was younger, I went to Port Royal. It was just for the beach. But you know, through the programs, we went to Port Royal, and you know, we saw the Port Royal that the tourists would see, the kind of artsy Port Royal. There were youth groups. I remember when we did youth counseling, and we formed bonds with students from other homework centers, particularly the Majestic Garden homework center, through that youth counseling program. But I think one of the things I remember the most, one of the things that stands out to me the most about my time in the center was in about 2007. The place got, the community got extremely violent. I remember watching the news one night, and the news anchor the night said, in 14 days, 14 people were either killed or shot and injured in Parade Gardens in Southside. And I remember people you would see people that you know today, and you would hear that they were dead tomorrow, and you couldn't really talk about this in your community. As a matter of fact, you couldn't even meet with your friends in groups in your community, because groups were targets for shooting just for being. And the homework center became the place where you could go to talk about these issues, and I mean really talk about it, things that you could talk about, your feelings, your emotions, things that were bothering you that you couldn't really express in your community. And that became, I know definitely for me and in conversations with others, that became coping mechanisms for a lot of us. I remember bringing it up in the presence of Dr. Sweeney one day, and Dr. Sweeney said it was a form of group therapy, and when he explained it, it was exactly that, but we didn't see it like that. The program, the center, just kind of became that meeting place where all of us came and we felt comfortable despite the raging storm that was going on around us. I am currently a practicing journalist. I went to UA Carrimack, and I went to UA and I studied at Carrimack. And when I was leaving high school, it was my secret ambition to never go to school again. But I knew that the world as it stood, I thought it would be better to get a first degree to put myself in better standing in the world. And the person who is the biggest influence on me becoming a journalist was Dr. Sweeney. Dr. Sweeney is the one who said, you're good at English, you're a good writer. I think journalism would fit. So my decision to become a journalist was definitely inspired and influenced by Grace and Staff. I think the answer to that question evolves in stages. Initially, it was an annoyance because I didn't really want to be there, and then it became a refuge, because there were a lot of times when there were storms, when things just weren't right, when you were struggling, it became that place that you could go to vent, to get encouragement, or for just someone to listen. And sometimes that was all you needed, just someone to listen. And yeah, I like that refuge. And it meant support, not just financially, but it meant support from your peers. It meant people that you could talk to about anything. It meant making lifelong connections. It meant guidance for in things like school. It meant and now I think the word I would use now is indispensable. I think, yeah, definitely indispensable. It has touched so many aspects of my life that I can easily say without any fear of contradiction that without Grace and Staff, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. It's no question or debate. This organization helped me to shape me into the person that I am today.